The SEC may go to a 2-6 format. That probably means that the Vols are going to lose a rivalry. Four Downs brought to you by Ted Russell Ford Lincoln on Parkside Drive and Kingston Pike, East Tennessee's largest volume dealer. So, which rivalry should they lose? Let's start with Florida. If they have to drop a rivalry and it's Florida, I never thought I would say this, Caleb, but I have zero problem with it because I don't think Florida is going to be at the level they were under Steve Spurrier. There's not an SEC East to be won anymore. Again, if you'd have told me 10 years ago I was saying this, I was like, Dave's an idiot. But I don't have a problem if the Florida rivalry goes away.
Well, and as I said on the Four Downs that we're going to get to, and it's because you're going to have to drop two rivalries if it's a 2+6. And the 2+6 is going to look more likely because they can't get everybody to agree to a 9-game schedule right now. The Florida rivalry has to be the first to go. And because Dave, even if you do a 3+6, if you do go to 9 games and it's 3+6, you still might lose Florida if you're Tennessee, right? Like, I mean, I don't see how they keep them, honestly. So I think no matter how you do it, I think the Florida rivalry is gone. And I don't think people really look, that was a rivalry of value and what matters, but there's nothing regional about it. It was just those two teams happened to be at an apex at the same time. It's the same of like Alabama LSU. Yeah, that's a rivalry right now, but like that wasn't a rivalry in the 90s, or the 80s. So yeah, that's where I kind of land with that.
Now, if you're 70 plus, Vanderbilt was a rivalry. I would actually argue that Tennessee, let's go from a recruiting perspective, because that's what I covered for so long, that Tennessee would rather lose the Florida rivalry than the Vanderbilt rivalry because of the talent level. Now, I know you've knocked the talent level in the mid-state area that it hasn't produced, and you're right to a large extent. But when you talk about Florida, Florida is not Miami. Florida is a rural area, and I've been there several times covering games. Florida is a rural area that just doesn't have the same level of talent as South Florida. And I could quickly argue, and I don't know if you've been to Gainesville, but probably have. It's probably doesn't have the same talent level as an exploding population in the Nashville area.
No, it doesn't. Gainesville absolutely doesn't. Again, you're right. If you want to, like, your best chance in Gainesville, if you go there, is to make a detour to Tampa, isn't it? To try to get talent from that. But you're better off playing at Florida State than Gainesville because Florida State's at least in the Florida Panhandle. And for those who don't know, Florida Panhandle is a rare gem of high school football talent, of just like freak athletes, honestly. But Gainesville's not in the Panhandle. It's a little further south and it's closer to the Gulf Coast. But it's inland. There is not a lot of it's not like you're going to be able to make a recruiting stop when you're doing a trip to Florida.
Now, in all fairness, you can go to Jacksonville, but still you're talking about 2-hour drives, probably a little more with the Panhandle. So.
Yeah, and you're not about to do that when you're on a football trip that week.
Yeah, well, I mean, if let's say the exposure that you would get in Gainesville if you're a school like Tennessee, if you're a superstar football player in that area and you're willing to make the move, then first of all, you probably are more likely to make the move to a Miami or a Florida State or stay at Florida. But if you're willing to make the move to Tennessee, that opens up every other program. The next one yes.
Just for the record, for those who are questioning, the Vanderbilt rivalry is never going away because the SEC, when they do this format, someone's got to play Vanderbilt annually, and they're going to pick the team that shares the state with Vanderbilt to do that. They're not going to get rid of an in-state series.
No, agree. Then Kentucky. This rivalry has never done anything for me. As a matter of fact, maybe because it was the end of the season, I didn't want to cover it half the time. So if it goes away, and then we'll give our two, but we want to break them each down one by one, brought to you by Ted Russell Ford Lincoln on the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios. I got no problem with the Kentucky game going away.
I mean, I don't either. I got no problem. Look, I don't understand to this day when the SEC formed how Kentucky was part of it. They never felt SEC to me, honestly. You got to go up north to Lexington. It feels more almost borderline Big Ten country than it is SEC country to me. They academically wouldn't fit in the Big Ten, but I think that I don't really mind seeing Kentucky go. However, I'm only thinking about this, and we're going to get to it in a second. I'm only thinking about this from Tennessee's perspective and what's best for Tennessee. And what's best for Tennessee is if Vanderbilt and Kentucky stay on the list. So,
well, all right. We're going to get into a sensitive subject next because Caleb seems to think that the Alabama game should go away. That seems almost insane to me. It is Four Downs, brought to you by Ted Russell Ford and Ted Russell Lincoln, East Tennessee's largest volume dealer. They have 2 locations, and the customer service will absolutely blow you away. It is Four Downs, brought to you by Ted Russell Ford Lincoln at the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios.
Like a blast from the past, the Super Dealer is back. Look to the skies, Knoxville. The Super Dealer is fighting for price, service, and the American-made. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Save up to $4,350 on a new Ford F-150 XLT, or get into a new Ford Ranger XLT with no payments for 90 days. Come see the Super Dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford.
Cooper Mace here. Hit like and subscribe.
Do it, Coop. All right. I'm going to let you do it. Go ahead and bear yourself and with those that are fans of Caleb Calhoun, but go ahead and do it. You think the Alabama rivalry should fall off the schedule?
What? To quote a famous black Nazi, I'm going to let you finish.
Okay. Kanye?
Yes, that's Kanye. Remember when he stole the mic from Taylor Swift? I'm going to let you finish.
I don't remember that.
So, okay, here we go. The Alabama rivalry, if it's a 2+6 format, the Florida rivalry's gone, the Georgia rivalry's gone. That's happening. So it's going to come down to Alabama, Vanderbilt, Kentucky. If you're Tennessee, you should be cheering to the high heavens for the Alabama rivalry to get knocked off the list. Completely cheer to the high heavens. Guys, I didn't do this. I'm not responsible for this. I am not at fault. College football and everybody who pushed for an expanded playoff and everybody who pushed for mega conferences is responsible for this, okay? The minute you expanded the college football playoff, you killed the sacred history and tradition of regular season rivalry games. That's why I fought against it so hard. I fought against it completely hard. The only thing that matters in college football now is the playoff. That's the only thing that matters is your positioning for the playoff. We know, based on last year, the selection committee values strength of schedule literally 0, places no value on it. With that in mind, would you not rather just play the easiest SEC slate possible so you could be higher up in the SEC and that automatically gets you into the playoff? Look at Indiana last year. Indiana played a horrible schedule. They played 8 of the 9 worst teams in the Big Ten. They didn't even play a Power 5 team in their non-conference games, and they got rewarded for it. When the one team they played, Ohio State, they got blown out by the one time they played a good team. I'm sorry, if you're Tennessee, maximizing your odds of success matter more than tradition at that point. I don't blame Tennessee for that. I blame everybody who wanted a college football playoff and everybody who wanted an expanded playoff. You cannot come to me about the importance of tradition when you threw tradition out the minute you wanted an expanded playoff. Dave would say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You threw them both out once you had an expanded playoff. You killed tradition. It's over. And because it's over, I'm sorry, you should want the best path to make the playoff and have a high seed. And that path involves not having to play Alabama every year. I'm sorry. I didn't kill tradition. I do value it, but you can't cling to tradition and embrace this expanded playoff. You can't. They can't coexist.
I'd like to expand your role a little bit. Can you read the post that's on the screen for the message board?
Crazy Caleb and his liberal hot takes. What's liberal about this? Or conservative? I mean, nothing's liberal or conservative.
It's just funny. And the next one?
Caleb has lost his mind. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't devalue the regular season. Some people I see are like, we need some fun games in the regular season. Why? College football has made it all about the playoff now. It's the only thing that matters. It's a disgrace to me that Ohio State lost to Michigan and then won the national title. Dave, can you at least acknowledge something looks really odd about that? That Ohio State gets to celebrate a national title when they lost the big game?
Another post on the message board. This is ridiculous. I just can't imagine Tennessee headed into a season without the Alabama rivalry. You may end up being right, but is it not hard for you to wrap your brain around?
I can't imagine it either. And I hate it. I hate it as someone who has watched Tennessee for a long time, but there's rivalries that have to go sometimes. And this is one that would have to be ditched if you are looking out for the best interest of Tennessee. Tennessee should fight like hell to play Vanderbilt and Kentucky every year. Now, if it's a 3+6 format, keep Alabama. A 3+6 9-game format, keep Alabama. But Dave, in a 2+6 format, no, sorry. You keep Vanderbilt, Kentucky. You should want to keep Vanderbilt and Kentucky at all cost. That has been 2 easy wins for Tennessee dating back to 1901. Okay. And it wasn't.
What does Ben say, by the way?
Caleb has lost his mind. I'm sorry. You guys, if you fought for an expanded playoff, you fought for the Tennessee-Alabama game to not matter. Just know that that's what you fought for. I didn't fight for it. I never wanted it. I warned everybody this would happen. Okay. But I think it doesn't. You can't put it this way. Let's say, okay, I'm going to run this down real quick, Dave. Let me just give you a hypothetical. Would you say the one rivalry in say the SEC starts expanding and they add UNC? You've heard they really want North Carolina, right?
Yes.
Okay, so say the SEC adds North Carolina, but they don't add Duke. Do you think for a second North Carolina would be like, but the Duke-UNC basketball rivalry matters, so we have to play it?
Yes.
Or do you think, no, they would ditch it. They would ditch it in a heartbeat.
Oh, no. You have more flexibility in scheduling of basketball than
Here's
football.
the thing. No, because here's the point.
I see your argument, but you're arguing apples and oranges.
Nobody cares about the Duke-UNC basketball rivalry because nobody cares about regular season college basketball.
I do. I don't like regular season college basketball, but I go out of my way to watch the North Carolina Duke game because it seems like, and I may be wrong, but 4 times out of 5, it ends up being a great game.
I don't care if it's a great game or not. It means nothing. What matters.
What did the Orange Blood say?
I'm off your Christmas card list. Okay, I'm sorry. Sometimes I got to give the real takes.
What did Dylan say?
I agree, Dylan. I agree. Don't leave the SEC. I said that. Tennessee should bolt the SEC and join a group of 5 school. They'll be the best group of 5 team every year, and they'll be in the playoff every single year. Do it. That's the problem with the expanded playoff. I was trying to tell everybody about this for so long. You should only be thinking. Let me ask you that. Okay, let's take the NFL model for a minute. Dave, do you think the Patriots ever complained about the fact that they played in the weakest division possible for 20 years when Tom Brady was there? Do you think they're like, oh, we don't get fun regular season games. We're so upset that we have to play the Jets twice every year and the Bills twice every year? Or do you think they're like, yes, we get to win our division every year?
A couple of other comments. Adam says, Caleb says there are 2 types of people, wrong people and people who agree with Caleb.
I don't say that, but that's a good way to phrase it.
Yeah, probably. And then another post from Ben. Caleb needs to work for Nebraska with his week schedule talk. Derek says, I'm taking my ball and going home. Don't leave the program, Derek. We appreciate you. You're one of our better posters. And also, Dylan says, speaking of one of our better posters, arguing with Caleb is like shouting into an echo chamber.
Guys, you guys are just coming at me about tradition. What does tradition matter in an expanded playoff? I don't care about tradition in an expanded playoff. I care, if I'm a fan, about the easiest path to the playoff possible. Okay? I'm sorry. That's how I roll. I want the easiest path to the playoff possible. And this whole like, oh, you should want to play the best. Why if you don't have to? No, you should want to win a championship. I'll just give you a quick history lesson on this, Dave. You remember the Alabama, Oklahoma State, LSU debate over LSU was undefeated. They beat Alabama, who had 1 loss, and Oklahoma State had 1 loss. And the debate was, should Alabama or Oklahoma State play LSU for the national title? Remember that?
Yes.
Well, it came down to the coaches poll. Nick Saban and Les Miles both had a vote. Nick Saban was smart. He's like, I'm going to vote my team number 2, and I'm going to put Oklahoma State down at 5th or 6th. Forget 3 because he's going to skew the vote. Les Miles was so dumb. He voted Alabama number 2 because he genuinely thought they deserved to be number 2. And in my mind, I'm like, if you're Les Miles, don't you have an obligation to vote them as low as possible so you don't have to play them again? When you know they're better than you?